I'd like to call. Thank you. I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Greenwood Advisory Plan Commission for Monday, October 23rd, 2023. Prior to moving on to the approval of minutes, I'd like to recognize a former member of the Greenwood Advisory Plan Commission. Dwayne O'Neill passed away on October 8th, 2023. He was a longtime member of this commission and served, I know, for more than a dozen years. And one of his claims to fame was he was the one commissioner who pushed hardest for sidewalks. You know, if someone wanted to build a garage in their backyard, they would put a stipulation on there that they put a sidewalk in the front yard, and people criticized it because there wasn't a sidewalk on either side of that piece of property. But that tenacity has led to Greenwood being a very walkable city. So, Dwayne, rest in peace. Thank you. Amen. So, first item, the next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes for September 25th, 2023.
So moved.
Motion to approve by Monica.
Second.
Second by Mr. Lexi. All those in favor, show by raising a hand. All opposed, same side. Motion passes 8-0. Are there any special requests or continuances? Seeing none. Are there any findings of fact? Seeing none, we'll move on. Any old business? Any old business from the floor? Seeing none, we'll move on to new business. First item on new business is PC 2023-056, the Honey Creek Farm zone map changes. This is a public hearing, so anybody who's going to speak either in favor or opposed to this, please rise and be sworn in.
You're sworn on this perjury? To the best of knowledge.
I do.
Thank you. Please state your name and address.
Good evening, Mr. President, members of the Planning Commission. My name is Brian Toohey. My address is 50 South Meridian. I'm here tonight representing Lennar Homes of Indiana, the petitioner in docket number PC 2023-056. Here with me tonight is Keith Lash and Ty Reinhardt and David Ellis of Lennar Homes, and then Kevin Sumner, our engineer from Y Engineers, Steve Fairbach from A&F Engineering, and Jackie Ponder, the owner of this site, is also here. Thanks for hearing our case this evening. I think I have a PowerPoint. Like it. Thank you very much. So this is a petition to rezone about 245 acres from the AG zoning classification to two different zoning classifications: the residential large lot, which is called RL, and the residential medium lot, which is understandably called RM. We would like to rezone this AG land to those two zoning classifications. This slide shows you the outline in blue of the site, and it's, as I mentioned, it's about 245 acres. It's got frontage, as you see at the bottom of that exhibit, on Smoky Road Road, and it also has frontage over on Honey Creek Road, and it's surrounded by kind of a variety of different zoning classifications. There's CL and RL to the north. To the west, there's RL and CM, and to the south, there's RL, RM, and CN, and then over to the east, which is the right side of that exhibit you're looking at, is R2 in the Johnson County zoning classification. As I mentioned, it's owned by the Bowman Family Investments, and the idea is to rezone this 245 acres to allow for approximately 380 single-family homes. So in your mind's eye, it's east of 135, it's west of Honey Creek Road, and it's north of Smoky Road. To the south of it is the Kroger Center and that commercial development, and also the Redwood Apartments are down in that green lake, or just to the right of that green lake, that's right on the program shown on that exhibit. So this is a photograph looking south on Honey Creek. It's south, shows the farm field now. That's where the most of the frontage is on the east side of the site. How would they develop it? As I mentioned, they're seeking two different kinds of zoning classifications cut up into three different areas. So at the top of that exhibit, which is to the north, the petition would propose to zone that RM residential medium. And there's about 24.3 acres. And that site plan is preliminary, so it's subject to change, but that shows about 38 single-family homes up in that tan area, RM to the north. Then south of that, you get into the Honey Creek area, and then you get into the largest portion of the site of 172 acres, which they would propose to rezone to RL. And so of the total of 380 plus or minus single-family homes, about 234 of them would be in the RL district, and then the balance would be in the RM district. The balance of the RM district is in that tan colored area that is to the south of the RL. So to put it in acreage terms, there's a total of about 72 acres that they would respectfully request be rezoned to the RM, and there's about 172 acres they would request to be rezoned to the RL. There's a note on that site plan that says future school site, and that is a potential Center Grove Elementary School that would be above that area where it says future school site. That's why you don't see homes in that area, because there's a possibility, a distinct possibility that Center Grove may purchase that site for a school site. This is a preliminary plan, but I think it shows you that there's quite a bit of preserved area in there. That dark green area would be a preserved vegetation area that kind of runs from the west side of the site, kind of northwest. And then those bright green areas, those would be park open space areas. And then the lightest green color would be common areas for the residents of the community. There's also a series of trails that are shown through there that would, it's my understanding, will be designed to connect up with the Greenwood Park systems, trails, and in fact, there's a commitment to that effect. I'm sure the Planning Commission is well aware of what RL lots are, but just to kind of summarize them, those are your larger than traditional suburban style single family homes. They have about 12,000 square feet at the minimum, so that's about slightly more, I think, than a quarter of an acre. And there's, as I mentioned, about 172 acres of this development would be rezoned to the RL classification. Types of homes that we would build on the RL site would be luxury homes. These homes would be in the range of 3,100 plus or minus square feet to 3,500 or more square feet. So these would be sort of family traditional homes, mostly 2 stories. In today's dollars, these homes would be somewhere in the $500,000 range to over $600,000. And these renderings are depictions, not to show you just what's the only kind of homes they built, just to give the Planning Commission a feel for the style and architecture of homes they would plan to build in the RL. Here's some other additional elevations of the RL homes. The residential medium zone RM, so those are areas devoted to detached single family homes, residential dwellings, and subdivisions. And these lots are a minimum of 7,700 square feet. They have a different lot width, and out of the 300 or the total acreage of 245 or so, about 72 acres would be devoted to the RM. These are examples of RM homes architecture. These homes would be range from around 1,500 to 1,600 square feet to about 3,500 square feet plus or minus. These homes would cost, we expect, in the range of somewhere between $400,000 and $500,000 on today's market. When you're looking at rezonings, one of the things you look at, of course, is the comprehensive plan. This site, this is an exhibit from your comprehensive plan. It shows the site actually has kind of two designations. Single family residential is the kind of yellowish green color on that site plan. You can see Smoky Road over at the bottom, State Road 135 there over to the left and west, Honey Creek Road to the right. And the other contemplated zoning classification is mixed use. This site does not get all the way over to 135. The idea being that the mixed use, which will entail some commercial and other kinds of uses, probably will be more on 135 and near the corners of 135 and Smoky Road Road. We've appreciated working with Gabe and Kevin and Mark St. John and their team in the planning department. A couple of excerpts of note from the staff report. When we looked at the comprehensive plan, I think the staff notes that the project is primarily located in the single family district of the proposed land use map. So that's what that was the exhibit we just showed. Also covers a portion of the future mixed use district. It doesn't, while we don't have non-residential uses, we don't get all the way over to 135, and that land will still be available for non-residential uses, which I think makes sense on a state highway. Looking at the current conditions and character of the structures and uses, staff concludes that the proposed development seems to be in line with the surrounding area. There's RL, there's state homes to our north and to our east, and then to our south, there's Lone Pine Farms and Redwood apartments. So there's kind of a mix of the various styles of housing, and we are proposing two different zoning classifications on this site. Look at what the most desirable use for the land is. This is a single family residential development, kind of surrounded basically on three sides by other single family residential developments. Of course, south of Stony Creek, south of Smoky Road, we do have some commercial. Look at whether this will conserve property values. Certainly it will result in an enormous increase in the tax base of the community. And I believe the staff believes that the proposed use will result in conservation of property. And then you have to determine whether it's responsible development growth. Your comprehensive plan calls for single family residential and mixed use development in this area. This site sort of sits across both those areas, but staff notes that this leaves ample room on 135 for commercial or multifamily development should that come along. Staff has asked us for 6 conditions, and the developer agrees with those. That's 6 conditions. We have just a slight clarification on condition number 4, which relates to the trail connections I mentioned. We would respectfully ask that that condition be slightly modified, that such trails and connections would be located approximately as depicted in the conceptual site plan. They provide the interconnectivity we believe that the community is looking for. So, members of the commission, this will allow for a substantial residential development that seems to be compatible with the surrounding area. In terms of timing, if this worked out with the permitting, planning, and the next steps that are necessary, likely you would see actual homes being built not in 2024, but sometime in the first quarter of 2025. So if you're thinking when would there actually be residents there, you might see the homes being built in the first quarter of 2025, and you'd see actual people living there sometime in the second quarter of 2025 and then into the future. It's hard to predict about the type of timeline it might take to develop a community like this, but a good estimate would be somewhere between 4 years and 6 years once you started building homes. That's based on their experience in the Indianapolis community. With these two zoning classifications and this preliminary site plan, there's a mix of types of homes. We believe that provides a variety of housing options for this community. It will allow development of along a vacant site that's certainly in the path of development in that area, and will certainly increase the tax base of the Greenwood community. Staff concludes that the rezoning seems to be compatible with the comprehensive plan. It's not perfectly compatible because we don't have that mixed use, but our property doesn't really get over to the site, to the 135 where you get that mixed use type of development. And so the real estate that's along 135 is not part of our rezoning. We believe we agreed to substantially all of staff's requested conditions, and they made a favorable recommendation for this. We've certainly tried to answer any questions you might have. We thank you for your time and we appreciate your consideration.
Is there anybody else to speak in favor of this? If not, is there anybody to speak in opposition? 15 minutes.
It's not really opposition, I just have a concern. Is that
Okay, you'll need to be sworn in.
East Shore Surgery is my shooting restaurant. Yes.
Please state your name and address.
Sean Smith, 1584 West Smoky Row Road. So the only concern I have is where our house is like right in the corner. I don't know if you can pull that back up or not, I'm so sorry. Yeah, oh, back.
For you to ask me to help you with the
It's,
computer.
this one is right here, so I'm trying to.
Okay, so you're just to the west of
literally
our
this-
western border.
Yes. Okay, so my only concern is we have a perimeter drain in our basement that goes out into the field. That's where this residential large is. So the drain for our basement will actually currently goes out to that field. It's like a tile clay type drain. There's like a little valley that's in the middle of that thing. So if that's filled in, if it's whatever broken up, our basement's gonna flood. So somehow this needs to be rerouted, or I'm not sure the exact wording I'm trying to use here.
We have an engineer here. Could I ask him to respond to that?
Let's let her finish.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's my main concern, of course. And then traffic, obviously, is another concern. Are we gonna widen the road? I mean, it's still only a 2-lane road. Has that something that's been talked about at all?
We'll get the answers.
Okay, sorry. That's really all I have. I mean, I'm not for or against either one. I knew it was gonna happen eventually anyway, so it's just the drainage, obviously, it's going from my house. I don't want my basement to flood, so.
Okay.
Thank you for your time.
Is there anybody else? You have 5 minutes for rebuttal.
Good evening for the record. My name is Keith Flash. I'm the Vice President of Land Acquisition and Development for Lennar. Mr. Q said I'm a registered professional engineer in the state of Indiana. Haven't practiced in a few years, but practiced for quite some time. As relates to the drainage, I think the best if I can get your contact after the meeting. Obviously, in Indiana, we develop a lot of those agricultural fields. Many of those have field tiles coming into them, so it's normal course of development for us to pick up those field tiles, either temporarily route those to an outlet. Ultimately, we'll tie them into our storm sewer system that'll go through the ponds and to the creek. So knowing ahead of time is key, where those are at, so we can properly make those accommodations through the development process. So we agree to that. Jason, making that happen. As it relates to the roads, we do have a traffic impact fee study that's on file. We've been working with the engineering department on that. We're going to continue to have those conversations as we work through the zoning and the planning process to come to mutually agreed upon resolution on traffic. If you have we have Mr. Fairbach here in case we want to get the details, but there's a study that's been filed. If you want to see.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that would like to present on that? Seeing that, we'll give 5 minutes to the remonstrators for any rebuttal. Anything else? Okay. Seeing none, close public hearing. Commissioners? I'll ask a question. Were you satisfied with the answer you got?
Yes,
Okay.
I was, thank
And
you.
please recall, he has to get with him and get contact
I
information.
will, I'll get to it for sure. Thank you.
Great. Staff?
Don't have too much to add that Brian did not cover in his presentation. Staff is favorable of recommendation for a zone map change. We do have the 6 conditions. They had an asterisk on one of the conditions to modify the language.
Do we have that language?
I have it in the PowerPoint that was handed out.
I don't have the PowerPoint, so.
Here.
Okay, thank you.
Staff is comfortable with that amendment to the language, that clarifying amendment added to our language with the understanding that the word approximate location is being used, and we will work with them to further clarify as they go through the planning process. So no issues there, and if you have any questions, we're here to answer them.
Mr. Probst, from a park standpoint on trails and things?
Well, I think that's a good thing to have, that the park department has an idea of trails that are there already and how to intertwine with those existing trails and can continue them through your project. We appreciate that. I also appreciate the fact there's lots of green space on this project. Well done.
We met with Parks Director to discuss parks in this area, and that's really where that trailhead is coming into play. We're really envisioning more of a linear park in this area, and the PUD that was approved also has a good trail network going through them. So this will connect nicely with that other project if it is approved.
That's over off of 135.
Correct.
To the northwest of this.
Correct.
The one stub road that goes through the northern RM section, is the intent for that to stub to the PUD?
Yes, it connects in with the PUD, and they've lined that up so that that will connect into their east-west road.
It'll take maybe 10% of the pressure off of either Smoky Row or Honey Creek. I mean, I'm just thinking about if I lived there, how would I go out? Are there any future plans for, I know we just redid Honey Creek Road all the way down to Worcester.
So, there are no future roadway construction plans outside of what development might bring. The city of Greenwood doesn't have roadway plans. The intersection of Honey Creek and Stones Crossing Road, which is made a roundabout. The traffic impact study shows that that roundabout continues to work into the future condition with all the growth out there, so that's always good to see. The traffic impact study did highlight that there's existing issues at a couple of the intersections, Honey Creek and Tracy/Smoky Row Road and Honey Creek and Whiteland Road. Those conditions are made worse with added traffic, obviously. As Bernard indicated, they are working with us to essentially pay their share and to cover the damages they cause, to mitigate traffic issues they cause, if that makes sense.
And so if that is intended for future school site with the substation across the street, there's really not a future opportunity for a roundabout coming off of Smoky Row.
I think this exhibit on the screen, the one you're probably looking at, is maybe a little confusing. The future school site's actually within that red box. It's
Further
to the-
north?
Yeah, so
Okay.
you see the empty parcel within the red box to the north, is that's my understanding of where the school will be, and not actually on the corner there.
Oh, so we could go back into an S
Correct.
situation for a roundabout in between the two
Yeah.
roads.
Yeah, and it would be my intention, whatever does develop there at Honey Creek and Smoky Row Road, to request probably a pretty decent corner to allow for a future roundabout.
Sort of like we did at Stop 18.
Yes.
I think my biggest concern is we're taxing the fire, especially Station 93, heavily with 380 lots here, 500 some to the south of this. That's a tall task, and once we draw them out that way, we're gonna take a lot of our resources going further that way. So my only concern is, from a public safety standpoint, it's already at our city's edge, drawing our limited resources further away, or we're having to rely on our generous neighbors, Sparters and White River, would be my biggest concern here.
Just one point to that, I believe this is within the White River Township Fire District.
I was gonna say, I'm looking at, it's not,
No, it cuts back over, sorry, I thought that.
yeah, from the GIS, we're all the way to Whiteland Road, just about. So that's my biggest concern is,
One potential solution that would capture further capital dollars from the city of Greenwood is the Station 93 on Cutsinger Road was built with an eye to expansion to put in a second bay.
Yeah.
It actually is designed, ready to add that bay. It's got hallways that go to a brick wall.
yeah.
And obviously, I can't speak for the fire department. Captain Washel would be much more knowledgeable on any of this than mine, so. Anything else?
I guess looking at the trails concept plan, wondering if the petitioner would agree to follow the concept trail across the river along the road bridge that they're putting in, so that it could connect in with the RM on the north side and the PUD connection that's gonna be connecting to that stub street.
Would just mean a wider bridge.
Yeah, if you're going to put it up along the bridge and it doesn't, I mean, we can work with them on maybe not doing a 10-foot trail there, but maybe it's an 8-foot trail, but just to do that so it can connect up to that RM area and.
Give them access to the rest of the leisure areas.
Correct.
I think you're speaking in this area right here. And then connect up over here.
Yes.
Yes, we'd be fine with that. Across the creek, we'd rather not build a 10-foot wide trail right there, but we'll work with you guys to see what is appropriate there.
Yep, where it's appropriate, Mark St. John and I can work with you to be flexible there.
We'd be good on that.
Great, thank you.
And Dave, do you have alternate language for that? If you want them to reword it, language that they can agree to,
Yes.
speak slowly.
For condition number 4, trails should be designed and built in accordance with the Greenwood future land use map, including internal trail connections between Honey Creek Road Trail and Honey Creek Trail, with such trails and connections to be located approximately as depicted on the conceptual site plan filed with the petition, and to include trails to the northwest corner of the property
Designated.
designated RM.
Mark, you're comfortable with that, I assume?
Yeah.
Do you think Parks is comfortable with that also?
I think so. I haven't been updated on all the details on this connection with the park system, but
But
planning knows about it and.
And
I
Mr.
think-
Taggart?
Yeah, he does all the decision making on those particular items.
Okay. Are there any other questions or comments from the planning commission?
Yes.
We will have statutory criteria read.
I would remind you that in making a recommendation to the legislative body, you are to pay reasonable regard to the following. 1, the comprehensive plan. 2, current conditions and the character of current structures and uses in each district. 3, the most desirable use for which the land in each district is adapted. 4, the conservation of property values throughout Greenwood, which is your jurisdiction, and responsible development and growth.
Keeping in mind the statutory criteria, I'd be willing to listen to a motion.
I move that the petition for a zone map change to rezone 245.09 acres of land located between State Road 135 and Honey Creek Road, north of Smoky Row Road, within the city of Greenwood, Johnson County, Indiana, from AG Agricultural District to RL Residential Large Lot Zone and RM Residential Medium Lot Zone, as set forth herein, receive a favorable recommendation from this commission to the Greenwood Common Council, and that the same be certified to the Greenwood Common Council in the form presented with I don't even know the full language of the commitment.
The following commitments, well, they're the 6 in the staff report with number 4 as modified by the planning director.
I do have to read those in, right?
Or you said it just the way I did.
What she said.
What she said.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. King. Is there a second? Second. We have a second by Mr. Milborn. Any last comments, questions, or anything? Okay, I'd like to have a vote on this. All in favor of this, please have a sign of raising a hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion passes 8-0. I'd like to tell Lennar Homes good luck with this project. See you in the future.
Thank you very much for your time.
The next item in the agenda is the calendar. Let's pay attention to the PC meeting schedule for 2024.
It's the same dates.
Yes.
Yeah. There are two different Wednesdays.
There, yeah, make a note that September 13th again this year is a meeting. What did I say, September?
Yeah, you said so.
It's May 29th and November 13th.
November 13th was on my mind because it was my daughter's birthday. It is my daughter's birthday this year, but it's my daughter's birthday again next year, so 0 for 2 for her.
Which dates are those?
May 29th and November 13th.
And they're Wednesdays? Yes, because of the holidays. Because you'll have Memorial Day holiday, 27th of May, Veterans Day, it's a
Veterans Day
city
is
holiday.
It's the 11th of November.
So just a little update on the calendar, follows the same schedule as 2023 and 2022, et cetera. There is one major change. We did take annexations off of the schedule. They don't fit well on that schedule due to state statute and local ordinance rules. You kind of have to thread the needle with them, and it's always best that the petitioner reaches out to staff. So we made a note that they should contact staff to talk about the schedule, and they should not just think that since the paper says it, they can apply on this date without giving staff any warning. So that was the major change. The rest of it should pretty much follow what you are used to from last year.
Okay, I think we need a motion to approve this meeting schedule. Motion by Mr. King, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Probst. All in favor, please show a sign of raising a hand. All opposed, same sign. We have a schedule for next year, 8-0. The next item is something we've all been waiting for. It's a training session from our planning department, led by Mr. Nelson. Steve, I can extra.
Well, guys, I'll try to keep this brief. There is a Minnesota Viking game tonight. So sure,
Priorities.
Boy, I was just chomping at the bit to get to see that too.
Yeah. I might be the minority here, but I'm a Vikings fan, so.
Oh,
Well, this training is meant to be pretty informal. If you have questions or if our attorney Shauna or senior planner Kevin would like to chime in or add anything, please feel free to do so. So first of all, Plan Commission, your role. This is an advisory commission. It's in the name, so it shouldn't be too much of a surprise to you. You do advise our common council with your decisions, like you did so tonight with the zone map change. So one of the things you also do is you do look at our subdivision requests. So with primary subdivisions or secondary subdivisions, waiver requests, you do evaluate those decisions based on those or your designee, which would be the planning director and planning staff would make those on your behalf. So with these, you must approve them if they meet the statutory criteria. So or not statutory criteria, but our ordinance. So if it does meet our subdivision ordinance, you would have to approve those. So on the screen, I just have a few of your responsibilities or roles. So I did mention if it complies with our ordinance, you do have to approve them. However, if you don't like an ordinance or feel that the ordinance is incorrect, you do have the ability to suggest and recommend changes. So that's something that can be done. You can recommend a change to the ordinance. Staff is here to work with you on those, to file those petitions. And that ultimately be determined by our common council. When you make a motion, like we did tonight, it is a majority vote. There are three options: approve, deny, or no recommendation. With those, as we did tonight, recommendations can include commitments or conditions, and those can be added to the motion. Yes.
The majority motion is based on 9 members, so it requires 5.
If there was members absent, it would be the majority of the members.
to be official action, it has to be by at least a majority of the full body. So you have to have 5 votes either way, or it's considered no action.
Okay.
And then we have to put it back on the agenda for the next meeting to see if you can get 5 votes one way or the other.
Everyone's receiving the training tonight. With that, our legal staff is here to advise you. They will provide you
She just
with motion language. These are to help you make an informed decision. You are provided with both options to approve or deny, or if there is no recommendation, obviously you do not need help formulating those. You can make motions on the fly as well. If you were to add a condition or a commitment to an item, you would have to spell that out in your motion like we did tonight or as Shauna did tonight. So I have a little quiz for you on which motion you feel would be the best motion to make. Yes.
Yeah.
4.
I hadn't gotten there yet.
What our attorney said.
The text is a little small, but yeah, it is motion number 4. They're doing a motion to deny, recommend denial of the zone map change. First one I move to deny is pretty informal. It doesn't take into consideration that it's a recommendation to our common council. So second one gets a little bit better, not much. The third one would not be a good reason to deny a motion. You shouldn't be using your biases, your things that are not a part of the statutory criteria that you're reminded of each and every petition. You have to stick to those, and one of those reasons could be that it doesn't align with the comprehensive plan. Legal and ethical considerations for you guys. If you have a conflict of interest with the petitioner, if you receive money from them, if your significant other is receiving money from a petitioner, if you're best friends and you feel that your friendship would make it impossible to be unbiased, if you do business with them, if you, there are many examples. If you have one of these, you will be asked to leave the meeting, or you should leave the meeting, and you cannot participate in that meeting. When you're in doubt, you do have Shauna here, which you can ask her questions. She is here to help you. She is here to advise you. Planning staff is also here to help you as well. If it is legal or something we're unsure of, we'll give Shauna a call as well. When you're outside the meeting, you're supposed to be contacted by demonstrators, petitioners, the general public to influence your decision. If you do make contact with someone outside, don't talk about the petitions or the case. I know in a smaller town, you might know someone at church. It may be difficult to completely avoid the public, but when you do, if you run into them, you cannot talk about the case. If they have questions about a application, petition, refer them to staff. Kevin and I can provide them with the staff report, information on the hearing, information on the petitioner. You don't need to be the one to do that. Then it's not your fault if you give them the wrong information on the Zoom link. Just give that to staff and avoid any appearance of there being any influence on the petition. The intent is for you guys to discuss it at a group, at the meeting, at a public meeting together. So don't go out to coffee and talk about how you're going to vote on the case with each other, even if you're friends. Save that for the public hearing. Kevin or Shauna, anything you want to add there? Especially if there's fine.
It is best to avoid the appearance of impropriety, which is why we have you leave the room if you have a conflict of interest, so you're not even here in case your presence might influence what your fellow members do and vote. That's why we ask you to go out, and then when the item is done, we go bring you back in.
That's what I was gonna ask, why would you leave the whole building? That's what I was thinking he was saying, because if I had a conflict, I would announce that would be abstaining
Correct.
from.
And then we would take you out and you would wait out, usually out in the foyer area there, just because you're sitting here. In case you happen
It's
to
to
roll
keep
your
things
eyes or something at a fellow member and influence there, just so
Sure.
there's no appearance that you're bare presence. We always take you out and we bring you back in when that's finished. That's why we do that.
Well, that's a good reason.
David's a semi-distant neighbor, semi-close, whatever neighbor to me, and keep me from finding influence.
Some closing thoughts, when you're making a decision, obviously base them on fact and your statutory criteria. It's not a, committee of compassion always, although that there may be some bleeding hearts, try to separate that from, the facts of the case and the criteria you're looking at, especially for like a waiver where you have specific statutory criteria. The burden of proof is on the applicant. They are pitching to you how they feel that they meet the criteria. You may hear testimony from the public. There may be opinions, there may be embellishments. It's your responsibility to sift through the evidence, find out what information is fluff and what is fact, and make that determination. Don't believe everything you hear. And really it's, if you have personal knowledge on a topic, we do want to hear that. You can use that knowledge to inform your decision. But do please share that background and that expertise that you have with the full group for our group decision here, wherever we'll vote. With that, that is it. If you have any questions, let me know.
Can we get a copy of your PowerPoint?
Yes, I can email out a copy.
I'd like to get a copy if you get a chance.
With that, that concludes that. Quick and painless. We're gonna try and do 2 trainings a year. It's something that I know we used to do in the past, and we're trying to start up again. So about twice a year, we should have a brief training from you. We're gonna try to do that on later meetings, like tonight. If not, it would be a special meeting. BZA has kind of determined that Wednesday is a good day. So if that happens to be the case, we'll probably send out a special meeting for a Wednesday. But thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
11 minutes, Mr. Nelson. Thank you.
Is there any particular topic or anything else you would like to receive training on that you think would be helpful to you?
Come up with something,
Think of something.
call the city, ask for our planning department. They can help you with it. Okay, closed training. Is there any new business from the floor? Seeing none, are there any announcements?
I'd just like to say that, even though you don't have anything to do with it, you keep telling me that for the last couple of months, the new Main and Madison roads, they look so nice. You have a question, who's the road guy? W? You were telling me you had nothing to do with it.
Well, it's right on, that project came right on there, so.
That was a special project.
Well, the one on, when you're going Main Street, you're going east, there's no extra turn lane anymore. Has that gone away? Because now if you want to turn right, you have to wait for the cars in front of you to go straight before you can turn right.
Yes.
Why was that? It's impede traffic, I think.
Edge of the project was to widen the sidewalk, provide more room for pedestrians, provide more room for businesses. We don't really want a ton of cars coming through downtown, we want people coming to downtown, staying in downtown, working in downtown, eating in downtown. So we're not as concerned about the through movement of traffic as we have as the other intersections. Get the traffic there, or then maybe you'll go use one of our coffee shops or restaurants or something. So there was operations analysis done. I do believe that operations analysis showed that turn lane wasn't needed. I don't know exactly off the top of my head, but I do believe it wasn't necessary for
Right off the road, trying to come here today, because I thought, where'd the first thing go?
Yeah, if you're merely passing through, feel free to use the Smith Valley bypass.
Yeah, correct. That's why it was originally constructed.
Yes.
And
It goes through a wonderful roundabout.
How do I go?
they're still working on some pavement markings out there. That my understanding is that what was once the right turn lane will now be parking spaces. So it'll probably be more clear in the near future. So additional parking.
I think they have a parallel parking line in now.
I saw their foot there.
That's okay, we have a parking lot.
Unless they can run, I can do that.
Any other announcements?
No, sir.
I have one, Minnesota, the Vikings are playing football tonight.
Yeah.
Who they playing, the Chicago Cubs?
The 49ers, which,
I'm in line with you.
they've got a little bit better record than us, so we'll see how it goes.
So does everybody else.
Yeah.
Ready?
One
What happened to
more
Fran
item on the
Tarkenton?
agenda.
Move to adjourn.